here at Fifth and State. Also live on YouTube, Facebook, having the crucial conversations that Erie needs. Today, we are talking a big deal. It's a big deal. And when we talk big deals, we like to bring in Brian Slawin. He is the director, portfolio manager at the Ben Franklin Technology Partners Central and Northern PA. Good to see you.
Really good to be here. And what's really a big deal is if you go to YouTube, you got to Google or you got to search for Talk Erie video, and you got to subscribe. All the cool kids are. So you got to get on that.
We're gonna break that barrier of 100.
There you go.
So I just need to get more cat videos, is what it is.
You do.
Right.
You need to interview more cats. Yeah, yesterday was a big deal. It was a work in progress. I want to first thank all of Erie Insurance. I mean, just from top to bottom, they have been so helpful and so supportive and really bought in to their vision of how do we do something really economically meaningful. Not that they already haven't,
right?
But how do we do this in terms of entrepreneurs, and what do we really need to do? And so we've been in a conversation for a little bit with Christine Blashock, who's led this from the beginning, about, what are we going to do? How do we build on what is clearly an up and to the right momentum that we have in our community? And so we've come up with the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund, which if you go to our website at cnp.benfranklin.org, you can learn more about it, or you can Google Ben Franklin and Erie Revitalization Investment Fund, find that there.
So again, we talk about Erie and their Erie Insurance and their work with the EDDC, their work with opportunity zones, their investment in things like the East Side Renaissance. I mean, all over the place, right? What bucket does this fit into for Erie, I guess?
Well, this fills the gap between ideas and resources.
Okay.
Right? We've talked about the valley of death over and over, where good entrepreneurial companies go to die. And they do that because they kind of get going, they get a little momentum, but then they need some cash, or they need to make that first sale, or they need to do something to ramp up their resources. So, every founder knows that the hardest part isn't dreaming up the idea. It's finding the fuel to get that idea off the ground. And that's exactly the gap that the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund is designed to fill.
What I liked about what the little bit that I found out about this is that we're talking about early stage, growth stage technology companies and small manufacturers.
Yep.
Again, nothing wrong with that service-based business, but this is for making stuff or doing tech.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to live in our city if we didn't have great pizza places, but they only employ 5, 10, 15 people at a time, which is awesome. What we're trying to find are those companies that are going to hire 100 people and put them to work in knowledge-based jobs, and that can sustain and grow beyond Erie's, 4 walls, right?
Yeah.
The best possible thing that can happen is that California money gets spent on an Erie product, like Blind Tiger, right? California money is coming to Erie every single day. So that's really what the ERIF is designed to do, is find these really great, innovative companies. And we're going to talk about a couple of these, and we're going to also talk about some general trends that we're trying to tap into. Find these really great, innovative companies in tech and or manufacturing, or frankly, combining both of them together. There's a really couple of cool companies that we're working with who are doing exactly that. And the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund is designed to latch on to their momentum, provide them the fuel to accelerate, and really make this a sustainable economy for those companies and ourselves in Erie County.
When I take the root of revitalization, I'm thinking that again, the Latin root is vital, life, and that we're coming back to life.
Yeah.
Would you say, again, if you look at the history of Erie and job creators in Erie, we used to do this really well, and then the 70s hit. and offshoring and globalization hit. And so we were no longer making toys or making steam engines, so, steam shovels at Bucyrus, Erie, or, we can go through all the loss of the foundries, the loss of, which I think maybe the greatest loss is Steris / Amsco, where we were making super high-tech, hospital, medical things. Is that where Erie is at? Like revitalizing that part of things, making stuff, but in a 2025, mid-20th, first century idiom, if you will.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So we're rooted in Erie and building to the future. That's what this fund is designed to do. And frankly, the economy in our county, Erie County, is doing exactly that, right? You're seeing all of these. I'm really intrigued by we've talked about it before, the silver tsunami, where legacy owners are now sort of done. Whether it's manufacturing or any kind of company, you have this older group of folks who are done and ready to exit. And now you're starting to see all of these younger folks, when I say younger, 35, 40, 45-year-old folks who are like, yeah, I want in. I want to buy that manufacturing company. And what we're seeing is that they're applying new technology, new cultural norms, new ways of doing business, new ways of going to market in a modern fashion and really starting to make these things explode. One great example is a company called Modular Engineering, Fred Teitman and his crew, Sean and Ryan. And what they've done was they purchased a company that was fine but level, and no one was pushing hard on the gas. They bought the company. They completely restructured nearly everything. They've applied a ton of technology, including AI-type tools. And now they're up to 100-plus employees. They're doing military work. They're doing work overseas from right here in Erie. Wow. As a matter of fact, Laith and Tina talked about this a couple of Fridays ago, how this company is really up and to the right, and they've outgrown their space already in just 5 years. They've outgrown their space twice. They now have to move to a third location. So it's that kind of a tailwind that we're catching on to with the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund, and vital is the most important 5 letters in that long word. And that's what we're really capturing.
So, what we're looking for is that you're going to, strive for job creation and retention by providing capital and also that wrap-around support services.
Right.
Talk about that, because that really is that's the secret sauce of this whole thing.
It really is.
You can't just throw money at something and expect it to work.
So the VC math, right? Venture capital math. Man, I don't have any hair on there anymore. so I think I got to fix that. So venture capital math, you make 10 bets. 7 are just going to fail. They're going to go away. You're not going to see a penny back. 2 are going to break even. You're hoping for 1 that actually returns all of the losses across the portfolio, right?
Really?
So 10% is like Babe Ruth or, Ted Williams land, right? 10%. At the Ben Franklin Technology Partners, because of all the wraparound services and because all of the stuff that we do and because of the global, really, network, we're at 70%.
That's amazing.
70% of the companies that we funded are still up and to the right 5 years later. And I can point to a bunch of companies locally that's true. And that's why this will work, because we make really good investments and we then support these people, everything. Like, phone call at midnight, you just need an arm around your shoulder when it's dark and you're lonely and then nothing's working right. Just call me, right? We're going to have that conversation. Sometimes that's what you need, is an arm around the shoulder or other tactical things that we provide.
When we talked with Jen, when Jen was
Gilbert,
here, Gilbert was in town. Again, and she's representing the Commonwealth, DCED, in the entrepreneurial space.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin is kind of the funder in the entrepreneurial space across the Commonwealth. What is the role for private investor like Erie for this? Is this a model that you're developing, or has this been out there already?
So Jen leverages Ben Franklin. We're her arrow.
Right.
Right? She's got all these arrows in her quiver. We're one of those arrows that she shoots out, and she, helps support. Part of that is the private sector that needs to, or has the opportunity to, invest in their community, invest in these really great companies, create job growth, right? A healthy community is a good thing for Erie Insurance.
For sure.
Because they want to bring all this big, beautiful brain talent from all over the place. And they want this community to be a place where they can grow families and have fun on Fridays and all of that other stuff, right? So private investors, especially those embedded in the community, really are looking at this kind of a model as, well, what can we do to support that? I will tell you, EGRA was on board 10 years ago with a program very much like this and provided capital to support entrepreneurism. You'll hear Perry Wood talk extensively about inclusive entrepreneurism and the kinds of things. It can't be the usual subjects. One of the really sad statistics of venture capital is that women-run and women-founded companies return more. There's more ROI in those companies, yet they only get 2% of the venture capital in the market, right? Really dumb. Well, Perry and us and a whole bunch of people see that, see folks that are maybe not funded the way they could be, and we're, going to figure out a way to fix that.
So if we were to go to Franklin or go to, the Shenango Valley, we're going to see other examples of, some of the big shots, pumping money in with these partnerships with Ben Franklin, you would think?
Well, we're already in Mercer County. So the Mercer County Investment Fund. Okay. We're already doing that, and we're already making investments. I talked to a company today that we will be making an investment in a couple of months.
Nice.
Sure. I mean, we're open to any conversation that says we can provide half of the cash and all of the talent or mentorship and support. All you have to do is put in half the cash and say yes. Right? Get us on your radio shows down there. not that there are great radio shows anywhere, but here.
But Erie does have. Well, this is really exciting because
I think it's very
exciting. it really leverages what the the skin in the game the Commonwealth has, right? What the legislators have deemed to do, right?
Are they? Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I won't go there. So
isn't that where you're getting your? I mean, remember you got that big honking $18 million a couple years ago?
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
That was a really big deal. So the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund is rooted in Erie and built for the future. Right? We're laser focused on Erie County and putting this capital to work. And obviously, we got this great partner in Erie Insurance and a whole bunch of community members who are just very excited for what this could be. In the last, what has it been, 24 hours since we made the announcement, I've been approached by 6 different companies like, hey, what's this all about?
Right.
Tell me more. So, sometimes it just takes a little bit of noise to get people to pay attention. And, that's what we're doing right now. And I could not be more excited to make our first investments out of the ERIF. It's going to be super great.
We're going to talk to more with Brian Slawin here after the break. It's 420 Talk Erie. Talking entrepreneurship here on the Joel Natale Show. Brian Slawin of the Ben Franklin Technology Partners is with us, talking about this new partnership with Erie Insurance, the $500,000 Erie Revitalization Investment Fund. And so, again, we talked about early stage, growth stage technology companies and small manufacturers. And you said you're already getting like bites just since noon yesterday.
Yeah,
2 o'clock.
Real. I'm interested. I thought it would be mostly startup-y type companies who would say, "Hey, source of money," and I've had a couple of those. But the vast majority are companies that are looking at how do I make the transition from legacy ownership to future ownership? How do I embed technology into my business? If I'm a manufacturer, technology is vitally important, especially as we think about AI and the tools that are there. And then what are the kinds of things that I can do that fit with your mandate so that we can grow and scale and hire people and create really great jobs and life-sustaining impact to our community?
And so when you talk about these kinds of, are they grants, are they loans? What does that look like? What would the investments look like, and what would be the kind of the hoops that you'd have to jump through, you think?
Well, no more hoopy than any of the other things that we do. I think it's pretty simple, but whatever. You got to go through
Some of us are really good with the hula hoop,
I've heard. I've seen the photos on Facebook. So we're putting money at risk and mitigating or de-risking that deal by having a really good due diligence process in the beginning, which identifies the team and the finances and the vision and the market and all of that stuff, and then wrapping all of our services around them post-investment to make sure that they're actually doing the thing and are being successful at it. So I think the important question is how are we going to have more money or enough money to invest in all of these things that are now going to come out of the woodwork, if you will, to say, hey, I have a thing. I have a real thing, and I'd really like to talk to you about it. I'm going to be yes for every one of those conversations, much like Ben Franklin already is. But when it comes time for the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund, that's a different level. That's a different playing ground than we have been, frankly, able to play on to this point. So I'm super excited that this is attracting attention.
Yeah.
I can really be a yes for these conversations and learn more about what people want to do.
It seems like it really does open up the door wider than what your typical Ben Franklin ability has been to do, because we've had those conversations. I think the last time you came in with big checks, it was Eventio and also Spear, right? Spear Brakes, I think it was.
They were there. So was Blind Tiger, Auto QA.
But you were putting more money in. You're making bigger bets, and so now you're able to kind of open the door, maybe with either earlier on the startup cycle, or it's more money to be able to put in. Right?
Well, I don't think of it this way, but the reality is I work in an organization that covers 67 counties, and every county is fighting for every dollar. And so what Erie Insurance and we have put together advantages Erie County.
Right.
This isn't for Crawford. It's not for Warren. It's not for anywhere else. It's for Erie County. And so the ability to make those investments in Erie County businesses will give us an advantage, hopefully an unfair advantage, to grow the economy in our community.
Kind of learn the same kind of attraction model, through like the ice, what they do at the chamber with the fire and ice deal. And I mean, like every time that we have a little carrot out there, it's like, well, think about Erie to grow your business. Because we have, we're developing the knowledge workers, we have the university connections, and now we have the capital and the wraparound services. It's pretty exciting stuff.
We're trying to fill in that continuum of capital from I've got an idea and I'm going to quit my job and go do this, and then maybe some friends and family. And now I'm starting to see a little traction, and that's where good companies go to die, is when they lose the momentum because of capital, mentorship, and other resources. We're trying to fill that gap in. Now, the ICE Angel Fund is doing a little of that, but sort of on the upper end of the capital gap, right before you would go get sort of institutional investment from venture capital firms that we know some.
There really is a continuum that's pretty finely identified.
Yeah, you really can tell. I mean, mostly you can tell where a company is on that continuum, and you need to make sure that they get to the right people in the right place at the right time. And that's why this is so important. It's really so it is a fund, but it's more than a fund. It's a blueprint for how Erie can lead the state and the Commonwealth in innovation-driven growth. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
All right, we got to take the break at the bottom of the hour. Brian Slawin is with us. When we come back after the news, I want to talk about some of the success stories and how this could be reflected in this new $500,000 Erie Revitalization Investment Fund. It's a partnership between the Ben Franklin Technology Partners and Erie Insurance. You are tuned to Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show here on a Wednesday edition of our program. Again, you can, if you missed a part of this, you could hear it on the podcast. You could hear it on the YouTubes.
And don't go anywhere, because the good stories are coming next.
They're coming next. Stay with us. Appreciate you tuning in. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show, having the crucial conversations that Erie needs from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here. It's 4:34. Brian Slawin is with us. He's from the Ben Franklin Technology Partners and announcing this new Erie Revitalization Investment Fund and $500,000 boosting local economic growth. And Brian, we were talking about the investments that Ben Franklin makes into local companies.
Yeah.
Tell us about the nature of that relationship. And you're not there until everybody is gone, right? I mean, as far as like, you're there for a moment, right? You're there for a part of the growth pattern of a company, right?
Well, no, actually,
How's that work?
We're there until they kick us out at some level. So once we make an investment, and let's make sure we touch on what kind of investments we do. But once we make an investment, we are there, and even before, as we go through the due diligence process with a company, we are there free, no cost, mentor, guide, supporter, helper, introducer, anything. So if you're a portfolio company, you can call me or you can call one of my colleagues who's way smarter than me on a bunch of stuff and say, I need help doing X. Okay, we'll help you do an X, and it's free. There's no cost to the company.
Wow. So
we'll do that forever if you want to. You know, some of the companies we'll talk about here in a little bit, like PS Energy, Carl Nicolia's company, PS Energy, and many, many others, they're already mature enough that they need to check in once a quarter.
Okay, yeah.
Some companies I talk to literally weekly.
Wow.
Because that's where they're at, and that's the help that they need. So, no, we're around, and like I said, we're around until they kick us out.
I've been tired of seeing it. You know. That's amazing.
So when we do make investments, it's two kinds. One is a full-on equity investment. So Shark Tank, right? Everyone, I buy your company, 10% of your company for $1 million, whatever it is. So we can make those investments out of this fund and the other money that we have.
And when that pays off for you, that's going back into the kitty for other investments.
We describe the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund as an evergreen fund. So when we make an investment into a company and they return capital to the fund, we then turn around and put it into the next great company that's going to do great things in Erie County. So there's that. There's just pure on equity. And then the other is a convertible note. And frankly, I'd say 90%, 95% of the investments we make are convertible notes.
Okay.
What our CEO, Steve Brawley, says a lot is, if we evaluated companies based on true VC economics, we'd never make an investment. There's always a way to there's always a way to say no. How do we find our way to yes so that we can provide capital and then provide the wraparound, which is really the difference maker for our companies? And so if they pay off that convertible note, great. We're still here and available. You need follow-on funding? Great. Let's have the conversation. So there's no walking away from this. Yeah. It's a financial obligation. It's a legal obligation. But once you're successful and once you want to sort of take us off the cap table, there's ways to do that. And frankly, we love when that happens, because when money gets returned to us and the community, that means the next generation or the next level of success can occur.
Now, again, playing devil's advocate for a second here. Are you guys making loans, convertible notes?
It's not really a loan.
Okay, explain that then.
Sure. So a loan is a loan, right? I give you $5. 30 days from now, I need 75 cents back, right? So that's a loan. It's a typical product like from a bank. What we do is provide capital in a certain structure that you can delay paying us back for, in some cases, 3.5 years, because we want you to use the money that you've said you need to do the thing you said you wanted to do, and we want to help you do that. So it's not really a loan. It's a convertible note. It's an actual difference the way we structure that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask if this is something where it maybe wouldn't pencil out for conventional financing type of thing. You guys are kind of able to swoop in as Superman to to save the day.
Well, yeah, right. Super something. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. There were a lot of companies that are in no way bankable. I mean, almost any startup that I talk to,
Right.
they're not bankable at all. So how are we going to put capital into the system and into these really brilliant people who are brave beyond belief to go do this entrepreneur thing? How are we going to do that? So we figured out a way to do that, right? We provide convertible note capital and all of these wraparound services, which really is the critical piece. I don't mean to minimize money, because money is kind of the grease that makes the wheel turn. It's the stuff around the money that really makes the difference.
Talk about like some of these success stories. You mentioned my paisan Carl Nicolia, right?
Yeah,
related to my cousin's husband. I mean, they're doing
really great
stuff. I mean, in a important part of the economy,
So Carl is the classic story of kept growing out of the place where he was, right? He had a little place up near Barron and got too big. And then he bought a building downtown right next to McDonald's, got too big. And now he's bought a different building and he's grown out of that. That's the story, right? So what Carl did when we first met him, he was doing his thing. It was a tool that would scavenge waste heat and return it for use. So talk about energy and sustainability. He was all about that. And as he was growing, he realized, if we provided monitoring service to these companies that are having these big, massive industrial furnaces, boy, there's a real opportunity there. We can help them fine-tune the gas to the whatever, mixture, right? Okay, cool. So now we're a tech company because we're building a tech stuff.
Wow.
So manufacturing this thing, making tech happen. Well, what if instead of just monitoring, what if we proactively fixed whatever the issue was? So now they're doing that. They call it, what's the musical thing? Tuning.
Tuning, yeah.
Yeah, but there's another name for it. Anyway,
okay.
So this is the Carl story, and we've been investing along the way, but he's growing, and he really doesn't need other people's money at this point. But every now and then, like maybe once a month, maybe every 6 weeks, he'll be in touch with us. Hey, I'm working on a thing. Or we'll challenge him. Hey, we saw this on your financials. What's going on here? And he likes that. Like he wants to. I'm such a massive fan of Carl Nicolia. He is the oldest guy at his company. And he lets the young people run the company.
Wow.
He's there for, as he says, adult supervision and making sure when no one runs around the pool. That's what Carl does. He has given the reins to these people to go out and be awesome, and they are. And I think there's 35 or 40 people working there, and they're growing like a weed. So these are the kinds of impactful investments that we can make. We're privileged to make, like with the Carl Nicolia and at PS Energy. And talking about the other kinds of funds that we have available, there's a fund at the Erie Community Foundation called the Hoffman Fund, which we manage for them. Same idea. This was money that came from the Hoffman Foundation along with, the Hartman Innovation Fund, and put into Carl along with Ben Franklin money and all of our resources. So,
and what did he do? What did he do with that money? Was it marketing? Was it buying equipment? Was it hiring another person?
So
what did he do with that money?
He needed to develop technology, so he hired a couple of people to develop technology. He needed better operations, so he hired a couple of people to do operations. He needed to understand the market better, so we provided information through our marketing research group, and he now understands his market better. He, every now and then he just needs some help on the way the numbers look. I mean, Carl's a very sophisticated operator.
Yeah.
But every now and then he just wants another view of what's going on, and so he turns to us. So he uses the capital for strategic growth purposes and the other wraparound services, like what we're going to provide at the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund, to grow the company and bring on this really great talent. He's not only hiring locally, he's hiring people to come here from, I think it's North Carolina, a couple of hires from Virginia. So, I mean, it's the perfect story for what we envision a company to be. So Yeah, that's what this is about. And if you Google Ben Franklin or Erie Revitalization Investment Fund, you'll go right to the page that talks all about what I'm talking about. There's an application thing. You put your information in. I'll reach out to you, and we can have the discussion.
Talk about another success story, maybe somebody that's kind of earlier in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, if you will.
So Carl is a manufacturer making a thing and doing technology layered on top of it. I'm such a fan of a guy named Tom Laird, who is
me too.
in charge of Expedia Interaction Marketing. What he discovered in his ultimately what Tom was looking for was a market edge, right? Everyone's got this kind of call center capability, right? But what can we do at Expedia to actually build a market advantage? And what he did was he realized there's a lot of inefficiencies in that model, right? There's no way to actually score and evaluate every single customer interaction. You know, some of his customers have thousands of interactions a day. There's no way to do that manually. So he leveraged with his super sharp group of people artificial intelligence. And there's various models, and I won't get into the weeds on that. But now every single score can be graded. Every single time someone has a conversation with a customer, they can be evaluated and told, hey, that was not so great. Here are the 3 things you should improve. Or let's take a look at a week and say, wow, you're in an 83. Let's get you to an 85, scores. And
the evaluation is coming from the robot. So it's no, I mean, because the evaluator was willy-nilly because it was a human. And so he kind of took the human out.
It's the after lunch problem, right? All my morning evaluations are 9s. All my afternoon evaluations are 6s because I'm tired from eating my high carb lunch, right?
Right.
So he eliminated all that, and now the people who used to do the personal evaluations, now they get a ton of data that they can now be more effective when they do evaluations and then when they do one-on-ones with every agent that they.
And you could really string with this scenario, that it just like actually helps people.
Yeah.
Because that end user, that end customer is served better because the customer service person is better and they're being evaluated by real things. I love Tom, and now
awesome.
He's kind of stepping into some of the more community issues, and I'm listening. I'm just telling him right now.
So 2 things. 1, tech applied the way he's doing it increases jobs, makes more jobs, better jobs, higher paying jobs. This is an indication of better technology makes better economy. Tom, I love Tom's passion. I call him every now and then and say, hey, man, just back it down just a bit. But he is so all about this moment in Erie's life that we just cannot miss the importance of AI and what we can do with AI tools. I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago in Pittsburgh. How they're thinking, I say they, collectively, the ecosystem in Pittsburgh is thinking about AI. It's not the business. It's a tool to use in your business.
Sure.
And it is really making a difference for the manufacturers and other folks in that ecosystem. And that's what Tom is beating on the drums. Like, we just can't miss this moment. He's driving forward. We're in conversations with a bunch of folks about how do we do this. I'm really fascinated by how AI can improve manufacturing companies and what they can do, especially in this silver tsunami. And if you need money to sort of make that transition or do that thing, that's what we're doing at the Erie Revitalization Investment Fund. It's focused on jobs, high quality jobs, making sure that people get the capital so that they can build and drive a sustainable company.
When you mentioned, the VC scorecard generally is you make 10 bets, 7 fail, 2 break even, 1 is the big winner. Which it's
if
like
you're lucky.
If you're lucky, and you guys have a better track record at Ben Franklin. How do we work on the intangibles in Erie? I guess I'm asking kind of a broader question than just the capital investment. How do you make it where we just have a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in Erie, Pennsylvania. Again, the money's the one thing, but we also need leadership, and we need people like you. Honestly, we need people like Tom.
We definitely need people like Tom, that's for sure. So I think we are an innovative community. I really do. I see what's going on. We all read what's happening. The challenge is believing. I listen to your show many days of the week. I hear the phone calls. I attribute most of this stuff to I just don't believe, so it's got to be wrong. Right? That's not right. Talk to Tom Laird. Talk to Aaron Kerner, who does Aventio, who
came out of New York City.
Back to Erie. Right? Yeah. So, talk to Rebecca Stein. Talk to Carl Nicolia. Talk to A.J. Lewis with Sphere Brakes. I mean, the folks who run Fixed, Bob and Desiree Trout. I mean, talk to those people. They believe, and they're doing something about that.
Federal Resources, Jeremy.
Jeremy, right? I'm like an Oscar speech. I'm afraid I'm missing out on somebody. There's hundreds.
We're going to play you off.
There's hundreds of people who believe, and I've stopped listening to the people who don't. And I think more of us need to stop listening to the people who don't.
Listen to Tim DeCastro. Don't listen to the naysayers.
I mean,
hello.
If you were at Spirit of Erie Awards the other night, I mean, I had chills literally listening to him talk about his, vision for the future. The thing that I loved the most is they did a video of all of the awardees, well in advance, and he was coming from the Italian festival, and I don't know if you've seen what he wears at the Italian festival, but it's a T-shirt that says "Legalize Marinara." Right. In front of a room of 500 people. Well, the shirt was a little crumpled and you couldn't exactly tell what it said. Just a fantastic night. Brandon Mendoza and the Chamber and all of my friends over there, Jordan and Jake and Melanie and everyone. Just a great event. We were talking earlier, Joel. You left that event just being damn happy you were in Erie, Pennsylvania. Yeah. I mean, it was a really, really great event. So, yeah, it's about belief. It's about having the talent and retaining that talent. They're doing amazing work at Gannon, amazing work at Penn State Barron. They're doing really cool stuff at Mercyhurst. We'll come back and talk about what they're doing in terms of their venture studio. We've had that conversation
with Jen Gilbert. Yeah.
They're doing some really cool stuff at the cyber, in their cyber world. You think about the innovation beehive and all of the things going on there. I mean, look across the street.
Right.
What everything that Drew and his team at the EDDC have done. I mean, holy macaroni. When you think about the Radius Co-work and all the great entrepreneurs that are there and just walking down the street and seeing all this great stuff, I don't know how you can't believe. I mean, there's evidence now. We've seen successful companies build and exit, right? We have a company called Mideo. They were great. This was the Dr. Meraki, Fred Meraki.
Yeah.
Right? They exited. They sold to some big mega medical thing in the sky, right?
Yeah.
So that money came, our part came back to Ben Franklin.
So you had skin in that game, and you had some equity.
Yeah.
And so, bing.
Now we're making investments with the successful exit of Mideo. So this is what we're trying to amplify. And with partners like Erie Insurance, again, who I cannot thank enough, Christine Blashock, a blessing to our city. I know she's from here. Her parents live here. She just had this really cute little guy, Lincoln, like a year ago or 8 months ago. She was just absolutely a stalwart for getting this done, for making this happen. What a great person. What a great resource. What a great mentor. She's just really great. And obviously Erie Insurance, they touch literally everything in our community, and we're certainly happy about that.
I got like a minute left with Brian Slawin.
Yep.
If you are in this, that you just want to see if you would be eligible for being a part of this cohort here? What do you need to do?
Sure. So I'm always a yes for a conversation. Always a yes for a conversation. Don't think your idea isn't cool enough, good enough, whatever. I'm always a yes for a conversation. All you have to do is go to the Ben Franklin website, which is CNP for Central and Northern Pennsylvania, cnp.benfranklin.org. It's literally right on the front page, Erie Revitalization Investment Fund. Or if that's too confusing, Google Ben Franklin, Erie Revitalization Investment Fund, read the information, fill out the application. There's tell us your name, your phone number, and your email address. And what are you building? And hit the button, and I'll reach out.
Terrific.
Or on X, I guess now, Ben Frank Bryan, or on LinkedIn. I mean, it doesn't much matter. Brian Slawin on LinkedIn.
Join me in my DMs, as they say, my DMs. You also are the chairman of the Regional Airport Authority.
And I have the gavel to prove it.
You have the gavel to prove it. We're going to have Derek come on, Derek Martin, but things are
really
moving up, aren't
awesome.
they? Things are taking off. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
So just real quickly, I know we're short.
Yeah.
The airport is the economic linchpin, or is the linchpin in a lot of the economic activity that's going on. So,
and these are investments we made 10, 15 years ago with the runway extension and the revitalization of that.
Yeah. Well, Derek,
for this moment.
Derek is exactly. Derek's the right guy at the right moment with the right connections and the right resources to really do something spectacular. A bunch of cool things are already happening, but even more in the very short future.
Yeah, jump on that breeze if you want to go to FLA and come right back, and it's super, super duper easy.
Yeah.
So glad it goes into MCO and not the other airport.
Yeah, that's right.
Down there. Thanks, Brian.
Of course. Thank you.
All righty, we're moving forward on a Wednesday. Our phone number, 814-679-1080. We'll be taking calls and get you up to date on all the news after the big news.